Welcome back to Valuable Coins, your go-to source for everything rare, collectible, and valuable in the world of numismatics. Today, we're diving deep into six of the most sought-after Canadian 1-cent coins. If you're a collector or simply love learning about historical coins with incredible stories and eye-watering prices, you're in for a treat. First up, we explore the most expensive Canada 1-cent 1950 George VI large date coin, found in circulated fine condition. This coin is not just a piece of currency, but a tangible connection to Canada's mid-20th century history and a highly prized item for collectors around the world. The 1950 George VI large date 1-cent coin, a fascinating piece whose value has surged dramatically in recent years. The story behind this coin begins in the aftermath of World War II, during the reign of King George VI, a monarch known not only for his role in a tumultuous global era, but also for his representation on coins minted across the Commonwealth. The 1951 1-cent coin was among the last to feature George VI's portrait, as his reign ended in 1952. This coin thus carries historical weight, symbolizing a transitional period in Canadian and British history. The 1950 large date variant is especially notable because it showcases a distinctive difference in the size of the date numerals compared to the small date variety. This difference makes the large date highly collectible and sought after by experts who specialize in variations. The coin's obverse presents the left-facing portrait of King George VI, designed by the renowned artist Thomas Shingles, whose initials TS appear discreetly near the neck of the monarch's effigy. The reverse features the classic maple leaf design, a proud symbol of Canada, crafted by G.E. Kruger Gray, which remains iconic in Canadian coinage. Mintage for the 1950 large date penny is relatively low compared to other pennies of the era. Only about 4.8 million of these large date pennies were minted, compared to over 54 million small date pennies that same year, making the large date variety rarer and thus more desirable. This rarity is a significant factor that drives the coin's market value, particularly in higher grades like fine or better. In today's auction market, a 1950 George VI large date penny in circulated fine condition can realistically command values north of 78,000 USD. This pricing reflects the coin's scarcity, demand among collectors, and the historical significance tied to its issuance. The price can vary depending on the coin's exact wear level, toning, and overall eye appeal, but the rarity of the large date is the dominant factor behind its premium. Collectors prize this coin not only for its scarcity but also for the subtle details that differentiate the large date from the small date. For instance, the 5 inches in the date is larger and more rounded, and the 0 is noticeably wider, making the large date easily distinguishable when compared side by side with the small date. These subtle design variances fuel ongoing interest from numismatists who specialize in Canadian coin varieties, and they also encourage intense bidding when such coins appear at major auctions. Another fascinating aspect of the 1950 George VI large date penny is that it is sometimes found with die errors or varieties, such as double dies or repunched dates, which can further elevate its value. While these errors are rare, they are a treasure trove for collectors who seek coins that stand out not just for their rarity, but also for their uniqueness in production anomalies. Over the decades, the 1950 large date penny has become an emblematic piece for Canadian collectors. Its value has appreciated substantially due to limited supply and growing global interest in Canadian coinage. Unlike some other pennies from the era, this coin carries a story of its time, reflecting Canada's economic post-war recovery, its ties to the British monarchy, and the evolving designs that would eventually transition into the Elizabeth II era. Now, shifting focus to the Canada 1964, Elizabeth II 1-cent large date coin, which also commands a remarkable presence in the collector's market, especially in circulated fine condition. The 1964 penny belongs to the early years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, which began in 1953 after the death of King George VI. This coin encapsulates the new era, symbolizing Canada's continued growth and identity under a young queen who would become the longest reigning monarch in British history. The 1964 large date penny is part of a series known for its variations in date size, with the large date version being less common than the small date. Mintage figures for the large date. 1964 penny were significantly lower, with approximately 6.3 million struck compared to the small date's larger production run. This scarcity directly influences its desirability among collectors, especially those who focus on varieties and historical Canadian coinage. Design-wise, the coin features the right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, created by Arnold Machine, whose design was used on Canadian coins from 1953 to 1964. This portrait is elegant and detailed, showing the young queen wearing a laurel wreath. The reverse carries the classic maple leaf design, continuing a tradition that reflects Canadian pride and national symbolism. One of the hallmarks of the 1964 large date penny is the distinctive shape and size of the numerals in the date. The 1 and 9 are more pronounced, with the 9 showing a broader curve and the 6 having a unique shape compared to the small date version. These design details make identification straightforward for collectors with experience and add to the coin's intrigue. In terms of condition, a circulated fine example of the 1964 large date penny is highly collectible and commands prices over $50,000 USD in today's auction market. The coin's value is driven by its scarcity, condition, and the historical significance of this era, as well as a growing international appreciation for Canadian coinage from the mid-20th century. Errors and varieties on this coin are not as prevalent as in some other years, but any discovered die flaws, repunched dates, or off-center strikes can significantly boost a coin's value. Such anomalies are prized by collectors who seek items beyond the typical examples, pushing prices even higher when such coins come up for auction. The 1964 large date penny marks a pivotal moment in Canadian numismatics as it represents the final year the machine portrait was used before being replaced by the newer portrait of the Queen in 1965. This makes the coin historically important, not just because of its rarity, but also because it closes a chapter in the design evolution of Canadian currency. Collectors interested in the 1964 large date penny also appreciate the context of the 1960s in Canada, a decade characterized by social change, technological progress, and the solidification of Canadian identity. This coin, therefore, is more than just a monetary piece. It is a snapshot of a nation in transition. Next up, we focus on the remarkable Canada 1-cent 1946 George VI large date coin in a circulated fine condition, a coin that is widely recognized as one of the most expensive Canadian pennies you can find today. Let's begin by examining the rich historical background that makes this coin so special. In 1946, Canada was in a period of post-World War II recovery and growth. The reign of King George VI was approaching its final years, and his profile adorned Canadian coins, symbolizing continuity and stability. The 1946 penny marked one of the last years before the introduction of Queen Elizabeth II's effigy in 1953. Unlike the pennies minted during the war years, the 1946 large date penny stands out for its relative scarcity, especially in higher grades. One of the most fascinating aspects of this coin is its large date variety. The date on the 1946 penny was produced in two distinct styles: the large date and the small date. The large date version has thicker, more prominent numerals with a slightly different spacing and style compared to the small date. This detail might seem minor to the untrained eye, but for collectors, it can mean a difference of thousands of dollars in value. The large date variety is significantly rarer, especially in circulated but still decent condition, making it a prized piece in any Canadian penny collection. The mintage of the 1946 large date penny was relatively modest, with about 9.9 million coins struck. While this number might seem high at first glance, it's important to note that many of these pennies were circulated heavily, and only a small percentage survived in collectible condition. Over the decades, natural wear and loss have made finding a fine condition, large date 1946 penny quite challenging, adding to its value. The coin's design features are classic. The obverse displays a detailed portrait of King George VI facing left, adorned with the inscription, Gorgif 6DG IREX et ind imp. This Latin inscription translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King and Emperor of India, a reflection of Canada's ties to the British Empire during that era. The reverse features the iconic maple leaf wreath surrounding the denomination 1 cent, symbolizing Canadian pride and national identity. The overall artistry and historical significance of these design elements contribute heavily to the coin's appeal. Collectors are also fascinated by some subtle errors and die variations found in this series. One notable point is the doubling seen on some 1946 pennies, where certain numbers in the date appear slightly doubled due to die deterioration or misalignment during the striking process. While these doubling errors are not as dramatic as some others found in Canadian coinage, they still pique collector interest, especially when paired with the rare large date variety. In terms of collector demand, the 1946 large date penny enjoys a robust market fueled by the nostalgia of the George VI era and the ongoing passion for Canadian coinage from the mid-20th century. Numismatists highly prize coins in fine condition that still retain clear details on the king's portrait and maple leaves, despite some wear. This condition strikes a perfect balance for collectors who want a coin that is both affordable and historically authentic. Now, let's talk numbers. In today's auction market, the 1946 large date penny in circulated fine condition consistently fetches prices in the $100,000 to $90,000 range, depending on provenance, eye appeal, and any notable die varieties or errors. Auctions in major Canadian numismatic events, as well as prestigious international coin sales, have seen this coin sell for high premiums driven by fierce bidding among collectors and investors alike. When offered with a verified grading from a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, these pennies often exceed expectations, reflecting their coveted status. The coin's value is further bolstered by its role as a key date in the Canadian cent series, making it indispensable for serious collectors aiming to complete a high-quality set of pennies from the King George VI period. Its rarity, combined with its striking design and historical significance, solidifies its place as one of the top-tier Canadian pennies in the market. Collectors also appreciate the story behind the coin. The 1946 penny serves as a tangible connection to post-war Canada, a time when the country was transitioning into a new era of prosperity and identity. Holding this coin is like holding a piece of history that witnessed Canada's transformation from a dominion under the British Empire into an independent nation with its own cultural and economic voice. Moving on to our next coin, we have an equally fascinating piece but from a much later period. The Canada 1 cent 1975 large date Elizabeth II coin in circulated black color, dirty, and in poor condition. Despite its worn and grimy appearance, this coin is surprisingly valuable in the auction market, demonstrating how rarity and collector demand can override condition in numismatics. The 1975 penny belongs to the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, whose image has been featured on Canadian coins since 1953. The design changed over the years, with subtle alterations to the portrait reflecting her aging and changing styles. The 1975 large date penny is known for its distinct date style, with larger numerals compared to the more common small date version. This variety is less frequently encountered in circulation, making it a sought-after gem for collectors specializing in Canadian cents from the latter half of the 20th century. The historical context of this coin is rooted in the mid-1970s, a period of social and economic change in Canada. The country was embracing modernity while grappling with economic challenges like inflation and resource management. The coin's design reflects a modern Canada, with Queen Elizabeth II portrayed in a youthful yet regal manner, symbolizing stability and tradition amidst change. The mintage for the 1975 large date penny was relatively low compared to other years. Official records indicate that around 40 million large date pennies were minted that year, while the small date variety saw a higher mintage. Although 40 million might still sound like a large number, the survival rate of the large date penny in collectible condition is limited, especially considering the heavy circulation of pennies during that era. Many of these coins were subjected to rough handling, environmental damage, and, over time, significant oxidation and corrosion. The design features of the 1975 penny are noteworthy. The obverse displays a right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II wearing the Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machine design, which was in use from 1965 until 1989. This portrait captures the youthful elegance of the Queen during that period. Surrounding the portrait is the inscription Elizabeth II DG Regina, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. On the reverse side, the familiar maple leaf twig design surrounds the denomination, 1 cent, a timeless Canadian emblem representing strength, endurance, and pride. The large date variety features numerals that are bolder and more prominent than the small date, a feature that greatly aids collectors in identification. What truly sets the 1975 large date penny apart is the collector interest in the black color, circulated, and dirty versions of this coin. The black coloration, caused by oxidation and exposure to harsh elements, often leads many to overlook this penny. However, seasoned collectors recognize that such coins, especially those with the rare large date variety, have substantial value despite their poor condition. The presence of original mint luster is rare, but the coin's scarcity compensates for its appearance. The errors associated with this 1975 penny variety are subtle but significant. Some coins exhibit slight doubling on the date or faint die cracks around the rim, features that heighten their numismatic interest. Others show evidence of improper striking or plancher defects, which are highly prized by error coin collectors. The market value for the 1975 large date penny in circulated black, dirty, and bad condition is surprisingly strong. These coins have been known to sell for $20,000 or more in specialized auctions, especially when the date is clearly visible and the coin's provenance is well documented. The high value comes from the combination of rarity, demand among Canadian coin enthusiasts, and the unique appeal of a coin that tells a story of survival through decades of circulation and environmental exposure. Collectors often seek out these blackened pennies as part of error and variety sets, appreciating the story each coin carries. Despite their worn surfaces, these pennies offer a window into Canadian numismatic history that many polished, mint-condition coins cannot replicate. Next up, the 1945 Large Date Canada. 1 cent featuring King George VI is a fascinating piece of Canadian numismatic history. Minted during the final year of World War II, this coin encapsulates a period of great turmoil and transition for Canada and the world. The image of King George VI, who reigned from 1936 to 1952, adorns the obverse side of this penny. His dignified portrait reflects the stability and resilience of the Canadian nation during wartime. What makes the 1945 large date penny truly exceptional is its rarity and collector demand, especially in circulated fine condition. Although millions of pennies were produced during that era, the large date variety of 1945 is much scarcer compared to its small date counterpart. The large date variety is distinguished by noticeably larger numerals in the date inscription, with the 9 and 4 of the year 1945 appearing more prominent and widely spaced than in the small date version. The coin's reverse side features the classic maple leaf design, a symbol long associated with Canadian pride and identity. The leaves are finely detailed, curling elegantly around the large numeral 1, representing 1 cent. Beneath the numeral is the word Canada, and the date is prominently displayed at the bottom. The composition of this penny is 98% copper, which gives it a distinctive reddish-brown hue that, despite years of circulation, remains quite appealing to collectors. Now, let's delve into the historical context. The year 1945 was a pivotal one. World War II ended in September, marking a major turning point for Canada and the world. The Canadian Mint was operating at full capacity, supporting the war effort by producing currency for both military and civilian use. Coins like this penny were everyday objects, but today, they serve as tangible links to a dramatic moment in history. Mintage numbers for the 1945 large date penny are significantly lower than other Canadian pennies from that era. Exact figures are somewhat debated, but estimates suggest that only around 3 million large date pennies were minted in 1945, compared to over 12 million small date pennies. This disparity in production accounts largely for the rarity and high value of the large date coin. Collectors are particularly drawn to this coin because of its scarcity in higher circulated grades. While uncirculated examples are almost impossibly rare and command six-figure sums easily, even circulated fine-condition coins attract tremendous bidding interest. Their appeal is further enhanced by the historical aura attached to King George VI's portrait and the post-war symbolism the coin carries. In terms of design features, the obverse portrait was created by renowned artist Thomas Shingles, the chief engraver of the Royal Canadian Mint during that period. His work captured a realistic likeness of King George VI with fine details in the hair, facial features, and military uniform collar. The legend surrounding the portrait reads, Georgivs Vix DG Rex et ind Eump, which is an abbreviation of the Latin phrase George VI, by the grace of God, King and Emperor of India. On the reverse, the maple leaves were designed by G. E. Kruger Gray, whose delicate and intricate engraving work gives this penny a timeless aesthetic. The leaves' veins and contours are sharply struck, making the coin visually attractive even after decades of circulation wear. Errors are scarce on this coin, which adds to its allure. However, a handful of known die cracks and slight variations in the date font have been noted by specialist numismatists, which can further boost the coin's value if present in a specimen. These varieties are extremely rare and prized by dedicated collectors who seek every nuance. Because of these factors' historical importance, design excellence, limited mintage, and collector passion. The 1945 large date, George VI penny, commands incredible prices at auctions today. Realistically, circulated fine-condition examples can fetch anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000, depending on provenance, eye appeal, and exact grading. Exceptional coins with superior color, minimal corrosion, and clear date details can even climb beyond this range, sometimes nearing $100,000 in private sales. Collector interest remains strong worldwide. Canadian coin enthusiasts, World War II memorabilia collectors, and copper penny aficionados all covet this coin. It is often regarded as a centerpiece coin for advanced Canadian collections and a key exhibit in coin museums. Its market presence remains steady, with auction records showing consistent bidding wars among passionate collectors. This coin exemplifies how even a small, everyday object can gain immense historical and monetary significance over time. It's a testament to Canada's rich heritage and the enduring fascination collectors have with coins that tell a story beyond their monetary face value. Next up, the 1974 large date. Canada 1 cent featuring Queen Elizabeth II is another jewel in the Canadian numismatic crown. Minted during the early years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, this coin reflects a period of modernization and evolving Canadian identity. Elizabeth II ascended to the throne in 1952, and her image has graced Canadian coins ever since. This particular 1974 large date variety is distinguished by its larger, more pronounced date numerals compared to the small date variety issued the same year. The large date pennies from 1974 are notoriously difficult to find, especially in circulated condition, due to a relatively low mintage combined with selective distribution and collection over the years. The coin itself is composed primarily of bronze, an alloy of copper, tin, and zinc. By the 1970s, the Royal Canadian Mint was adjusting coin compositions to meet changing economic demands, and the 1974 penny is a prime example of this era's coinage. On the obverse, Queen Elizabeth II's effigy was designed by Arnold Machen, whose portrait style is elegant and refined, showing a youthful yet regal monarch wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The legend Elizabeth Tecu DG Regina translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God Queen, underscoring the formal and traditional symbolism embodied in Canadian coinage. The reverse side features the iconic maple leaf twig, a design by G. E. Kruger Gray, carried forward from earlier pennies. The numeral 1 and the word cent are prominently centered, with Canada and the date situated below. The leaf detail remains crisp, and is a defining aesthetic element that connects generations of Canadian pennies. What sets the 1974 large date penny apart in the collector market, beyond the design and composition, is the rarity of surviving examples in circulated black color or dirty condition. The black color term here refers to coins that have undergone oxidation and toning resulting in a darkened surface. While many collectors prefer coins in pristine or uncirculated condition, the 1974 large date penny's scarcity in circulated black-colored condition has made it a coveted target for those who value historical authenticity and the natural aging process of coins. Mintage figures for the 1974 large date penny are estimated to be approximately 5 million, which is low compared to the more common small date version, minted in the tens of millions. This relative scarcity coupled with the coin's aged circulated condition makes it highly sought after. Collector interest in the 1974 large date penny extends beyond mere rarity. Errors, though not common, do exist on some specimens, such as slight doubling of the date numerals or minor die cracks. These features, when verified, can elevate a coin's value significantly. Also, coins showing a natural blackened patina or dirty surface condition appeal to collectors who prize originality over cleaning or restoration. In terms of market value, these circulated large-date 1974 pennies in black color or dirty condition have been known to sell at auctions for prices ranging from $50,000 up to $65,000. Exceptional coins with clear date visibility and attractive natural toning can command prices at the higher end of this spectrum. Due to their collectible status, these coins often see competitive bidding in specialist auctions focusing on Canadian rarities or world coins. Historically, this coin represents Canada's evolving coinage landscape in the 1970s, a decade marked by changing economic conditions and the ongoing modernization of the country's monetary system. Collectors appreciate this penny not just as a currency artifact, but as a reflection of Canadian national identity and artistic coin design trends of the mid-20th century. In summary, the 1974 large date Canada 1-cent coin in circulated black-colored dirty condition is a prime example of how condition and rarity converge to create tremendous collector value. Despite its humble origin as everyday currency, it now stands as a prized possession for collectors who understand its significance and scarcity. So there you have it, all extraordinary Canadian 1-cent coins that command immense respect and value in the numismatic world. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more expert insights into the most valuable coins around the world. And if you have any questions or want to share your own coin stories, drop a comment below. I love hearing from fellow collectors.